Okay. Um, I don't want to jump into your story, but your story is one that when I seen it, I was like, damn, people definitely got to see this. Nothing short of a miracle. So
That's a
I
fact.
won 3 star. You were a collegiate athlete, 3 different sports. Um, Now you're an author, entrepreneur, a self-published author. Like you have a lot of titles, brother.
Life
And
coach,
yeah, life coach.
Yeah,
Like you,
motivational speaker. Let's keep going.
like you do a lot. But
this glass
there,
ceiling is broken.
yeah. But there was almost a point where you weren't almost with us. So let's jump into first. What it is that you do, but then I definitely want you to tell the people, your story.
So I just talk about what I do right now.
Yeah,
All
because
right,
you do
right
a lot.
now,
I know. We got time,
yeah.
but you do a lot.
What I do for work regularly is like working with the kids in like through a subcontractor where I'm in the classroom either with teachers as a teacher assistant or the kids with special needs. When I show up in the school buildings, there is no introduction. The kids just gravitate towards me naturally, respectfully, and I know their families and a bunch of other things. And I used to work in the after school sports program for football, basketball, track and field, and sometimes wrestling, just more helping out with the events. But then last year, I officially retired because I felt like it was time for me to do something new. I did it for several years while going to college, and it was time to move forward, eventually. And then, of course, I started my own business, LLC, Ethan A. Poetic LLC, where it involves life coaching, me being a self published author, keynote speaker, poetry workshops, entrepreneur, sometimes a health advocate. And then as of November 2022, I became a self published author through Ingram Spark.
Okay.
I swear, bring guests on here and they do too much. Like, wait, every time I bring somebody on, I think I'm doing something, and
Look.
then
DC about to revert back to the hoodie. He was like,
She
yeah,
about to
I'm
go.
like,
oh,
Yeah, fuck that shit. I
let him
felt some type of
retire.
way.
But
Now the hoodie got to come back.
also want to
Yep.
mention that you're a mental health advocate, which is huge.
Yeah,
Especially
like for
not.
example, I'm not gonna say everything. Just y'all just say, the type of car accident I suffer from. Most people are, still addicted to the drugs since we're like experiencing still an opioid addiction. I don't have that addiction. So I went
Well,
from a Christmas list full of medicines to none.
mm,
wow.
Now, talk
so
about it.
let's get into that because you were in a terrible car accident. Um, what I don't know how much of it you want to kind of relive or talk about.
I could go
Um,
all in.
oh, okay, hey man, because some
Let's go.
people some people only want to touch the surface and be like, yeah, I was in a car accident and leave it at that. But every story I feel like needs to be heard, and yours is no exception. So what exactly happened?
I was helping out this nonprofit organization called at the time it was called Children Deserve a Chance Foundation, but it rebranded to Atalo. And the CEO was Jordan Steffi. He graduated from Conestoga Valley High School, Maryland University, where he was a quarterback, and Columbia University for his MBA. And the goal was to raise funding by selling Dewsbury watches for the inner city youth and use the funding for his program. We was at this golf place. There was two different shifts for breakfast and lunch. We exceeded expectations. Everything was good. We took our pictures. A speech was given. Everybody leaves. What ended up happening was in my situation is I tell people all the time like the last time I remember seeing before a car accident is passing the shopping centers on Route 30 in Lancaster, PA, and this gas station that was there. The car accident took place in Paradise, Pennsylvania, where my driver ran into an 18 wheeler on the opposite road.
Shit.
Yeah, it backed up traffic for both ways, east and west, for at least 5 miles. And I don't remember the car accident. It's like a situation where I'm there when it happens, but I don't remember anything.
All right.
It's probably because of the injuries I'm about to go into pretty soon. When that car accident happened, it made headlines, news, radio, some podcasts back in the day, and it was real horrific. Unfortunately, 2 people passed away. A child did, and the driver did. My aunt was the passenger. She suffered broken bones in her leg. My cousin on the other far end, he didn't get no injuries, but he witnessed what happened. As for me, I was behind the driver, and I ended up becoming a mathematical equation: 99% chance of death versus 1% chance of life. Like, can you imagine, like, the police directing traffic while putting up the yellow tape? Can you imagine the fire department cutting the car in half with the jaws of life? And can you imagine the ambulance people taking my pulse to see if I'm still alive? Because the injuries I suffered was the seatbelt ended up cutting fractured my aorta, and then it cut into my aorta. So I should have died within 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's a lot of blood loss.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it just didn't happen. And the nearest hospital is like 30 minutes away.
Damn.
Shit.
Yeah, so that happened, and my injuries that took place was the aorta, torn aorta, fractured collarbone, left black eye. Then there was a concussion. My wrist got hurt. Lost over 60 pounds. And when I got to the hospital, it was like, I'm just using my imagination based on what people told me. It was like I wasn't gonna make it, but they still wanted to do the high risk surgery anyway. And this doctor got called. He had to stop what he had to do, and they got to work on the surgery. And there's a lot of people waiting inside the visiting room. It became overcrowded. It was so packed that there's people standing in the hallway.
Damn.
And beyond. While the surgery was going on, it was it's like watching the show ER, where it's like beep beep, that sound going off. Just using my imagination, and then people checking the pulse, doing what they could do, and eventually, the surgery happened. It got completed, but they thought I died on the table.
Oh wow.
They thought I died on the table because normally when someone has that high risk surgery, they wake up like a blink of an eye. I didn't do that. And the one woman was crying at the end of her shift, like, wow. So they allowed me to be on that morphine medicine for days at a time. And then one day I woke up on cloud 9.
I bet.
Yeah, like when I woke up, I don't know what's going on because I'm not in my conscious, I'm in the subconscious. And that same woman who cried, same woman who looked at me like, wow. And then she cried tears of joy because it gave her closure in the sense that she didn't lose a patient on the operating table.
Yeah.
And when I finally did wake up in a normal state where there wasn't as much drugs in me, I woke up in the IC unit with 2 IVs in my veins. I got this thing on my finger. I got a catheter. But no one was trying to tell me what happened for the first 2 or 3 days. And when they did tell me, I was just shocked. Like, wow, how could this be? At first, I thought I was the only person who went through the car accident. Turns out everyone who was in the car with me experienced it.
Oh, that's a ripper.
So, because man, it's just because I don't know too many people who, kind of survived something like that, or I don't want to say was on the other side for a while, but as you were out, there's a lot going on. Did you feel, kind of any different while you were on the table, or it just was kind of a nothingness, if that makes sense.
You talk about on the operating table?
Yes.
I don't remember that. I don't remember anything. I think it's
Man,
because of that concussion.
It's
yeah,
it's
because
it's almost like it's almost like the concussion was the blessing to not know how much trauma you went through, that your body was going through.
Yeah,
It's
definitely
just like
was.
but the fact that you came out of it, like,
because the fact that you had your aorta cut and you was
yeah,
bleeding out, that's not something a lot of people survive. It's that's a major artery. I mean, we all took health. We know that that is one of the things that carries a lot of blood. So the fact that you was able to survive that, but also go through this traumatic experience and not really, I don't know how much of the mental trauma you had after you came through, but during the experience, it was kind of almost like he said, the concussion was kind of that saving, like preservation type thing. Um, but yeah, when I seen that, when I seen what I was like, man, that to survive that, to have a 99% is damn near 100. Like
yeah,
That's the
any
first
way
thing
you
I
look at it.
seen.
yeah.
That's the first thing I seen. I said, wait, 99%, not 1%.
Just the inspiration of knowing that somebody was 99%, near death and survived and pulled through, and is not only doing well but doing 10 times more than you would imagine. There's people who go through
Phenomenal.
these car accidents and they're never the same again. Whether
Right.
not being able to walk right or their mentals is all messed up. For you to be able to not only have this experience but tell about it, but also show that you can come out on the other side and still, be right is, like I said, nothing short of amazing. Like I said, when I seen it, I was like, man, that is something that I've never experienced, and I don't know how I'll handle it, but to be able to hear that just gives you hope. Like, okay, there's more to the world than just what we see, where people um, pass away, because you were on death's door, but you came out on the other side, which, like I said, is nothing short of amazing. Um, so now you're a self-published author, motivational keynote speaker, entrepreneur. Like, you have about 50,000 hats in your closet alone, brother. You're doing work. Um, what do you feel is the most giving part of what you do? Like, which part of the hats that you wear is like, I enjoy this the most?
I enjoy being like the keynote speaker where I could be more myself in the school buildings, a college setting, a conference. Hopefully, I could do this in corporate America. It's just be more of my authentic self. Cause like in a school setting, I have to be more supposedly professional, but I can still have fun with the kids. But when I get on that stage and that microphone in my hand, it's like I got the control. Only thing the administrator can do is let me ride this out.
Mm. Oh
And
yeah.
then I get to speak to the kids in a way that's not necessarily more try to intimidate them. It's more just telling my story, telling my experience, telling them what I overcame, and then also telling them the backstory of growing up in a single parent household of five and having an estranged relationship with my father. And that's where it hits at home for the kids. Like, okay, he's more than just a guy in the cafeteria, the lunchroom, recess. And they can say, my dad's not there for me. Or I grew up in a single parent household. And that's what gravitates everything in. I kind of like bridge the gap. The other thing is like so many administrators, teachers, and librarians try to tell kids is you can write your own book, but yet those same people didn't even do it themselves first.
Mm.
But
Hmm.
once the principals start buying my books off of me, now they use it in like professional development. Show a kid who's acting up like, what are you acting up for? And this is what Ethan went through. Or they could say, all right, you want to write your own book? Learn from Ethan. He's a self-published author. And then when the parents find out about it, like they're gravitating toward me even more. Besides the sports programs I was involved with. And then the community at large sees the progress. God exceeds expectations.
Oh yes, definitely.
And then I wasn't originally I wasn't comfortable like talking about it until life happens. Like for example, about a year into the recovery, the one guy invited me to camp, playing video games, having the time of my life. I was an adult compared to the teenagers. He pretty much challenged me to, or say, encouraged me to share my testimony at the campfire. And when I got done, I humbled I felt exalted and humbled to the point where I had to get away from people. It's like so much emotion is in me, and I just need that alone time. It wasn't until my recent interview where the guy said something I never heard before, and that's survivor's remorse.
Yes.
Yep.
And I was going to ask you about that because, like you said, the driver died. There was a child who passed away. Um, a lot of people don't think about survivor's remorse or, the toll that it can take on you when you don't address it properly.
Especially
Um,
when you're not sure what it is you're feeling or going through.
Right.
Yeah, that's what
well,
I was experiencing with each anniversary because I was just wondering why is this feeling coming across me around this time. I understand what I'm going through. This eventually, either in the middle of the day or something happens during the day, calmness or peace happens for whatever reason happens. It was just unexplainable.
You know what that is? That's them letting you know that everything is okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't, like, basically, don't worry about them or feel, of course you're going to have your feelings, but that's kind of what that is. And that ain't nothing but God talking to you as well.
Yeah.
That's all that is going, wrapped in one. Oh, dang it, DC, I'm on my humble today.
I see you. I see you.
No, but it is. That's basically saying, like she said, it's saying that you're okay. And plus, with the work that you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
you're designed and meant to do that. It's like I'm kind of speechless, really. I'm just like, yo, there's no reason. There's no
See,
reason.
Chris speechless, probably once or
Yeah.
twice.
And it
Yeah.
rarely happens. I kind of recover. I recovers from it. Uh,
I know, it's
Yeah.
dope. It's dope, all of it.
Yeah, there's more to the story, like the recovery process and going through more adversities on top of adversities.
Oh, we got time, brother. I mean, if you want to get into it,
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
yo, go
Oh,
ahead.
like for
Just go
yeah.
ahead.
example, like
This
for
is your
example,
show. This ain't my show.
okay, like for example, it's one thing to survive the car accident physically. Now there's the mental, emotional stuff. Like for example, when I was in that ambulance ride, the EMT guy put the tube too far down my throat, and then when I start eating again while I was in rehab, I the banana wouldn't go down, and that's when I end up on a feeding tube for several months.
Jeez.
That delayed the recovery process. That delayed me gaining weight. I had to keep that thing clean around my belly button. I had to put everything in, and then I'm doing rehab at the same time, where someone's telling me you got to walk from here to the other side of the room. We got to do these next exercises, do the speech therapy, learn how to pick up a beanbag off the floor. I'm used to picking up grocery bags from Walmart or Target, but here I am picking up a beanbag. That right there is humbling as a whole because that a beanbag's so light, and a beanbag's usually for like cornhole or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's something most people take advantage of.
That's a fact. That's a
I'm
fact.
trying.
We
I'm
all over here
not
trying to
get
figure it
Yeah,
out.
because bro,
Like-
like this, like I'm trying.
It's touching, it's shocking, it's crazy. It definitely have your mind like in a million different questions, but you don't know which way to ask it or how to ask it. You just like shit. How do I say these things? I see it all over your face, DC. You like, yeah,
Well, because I'm
I
not
got
gonna
it,
lie,
but I
like
can't
we
get it.
take advantage of, or take for granted being able to do the simplest of tasks,
Right.
and hearing him say like, "Oh yeah, I used to pick up groceries at Walmart. Now I'm struggling to kind of pick up a bean bag." It makes you think like sometimes we don't think about how good we have it, and we it can be humbling because like we think about like, oh, I'm big and strong, and then one day I'm gonna be weak as fuck. You don't
Right.
think about that, or think like, hey man, there could be something that happens to where I can't do the things normally that I take for granted now. So it's just hearing this, it's not only just like it makes you think about not just like mortality, but just people need to appreciate even the small things,
The
you know,
small things always.
When you living in the
because
world, when you live in this world of just hate, it's just no other way to put it, hate and selfishness and whatnot, and then realizing something so small, something
true.
so minute, and you're like, yeah, this person here fought back from the brink of death, literally, and you're talking about you being late for work or something.
Get y'all friend in this comment.
Last part.
Not,
Get y'all
not
friend in this comment. Well, why?
technically
It
the
is.
pinky toe is a
It is.
balancer. You don't think
You
I
about
mean,
that.
I know, but why? What the bad boy artist had to do with it?
It
Well,
drives home the point.
yeah, the bad boy artists like sign bad deals because they didn't do their homework and have the right lawyers,
Exactly. It
and
don't
then they
have nothing to do
complain
with
about
their
the deal in the
toes.
aftermath.
Yeah, no, that was on them.
No, he's not. But
No,
He's not
what you
wrong. No, you're
got?
not
so
wrong.
You got
how long was the rehab process? You know, because
Oh
let's
man, let's see, at least 2 to 3 months because I was in there for at least a month, like putting in the work, even at my lowest strength, and then when I finally was able to walk on my own, because eventually, the doctor was telling me if I start making progress with the walking, they're gonna put me on blood thinners because a person's supposed to walk around or at least move 1/4 to a half a mile a day to at least prevent a blood clot.
I
So that
did
became
not
a
know
challenge.
that.
Yeah, that
Sir,
became a challenge
all
from
the
the
way now.
doctor. And then
I see
there's
why a little
also the
white girl
situation of
wrong.
being on a feeding tube where I'm used to eating by mouth, drinking by mouth.
right.
I can't even do that. If I were to do that, the consequences are pneumonia, and that make everything much worse than what it would have been already.
Mm.
Because once you get pneumonia, well, anything can happen. It can get worse or get better, but it's not worth finding out.
No,
No, no.
not at all. I don't think nobody would ever like. You know what? I want to try pneumonia today. The fact that
Yeah.
it's this is off subject, and I know it's a serious thing, but the fact that pneumonia sounds like pneumonia but has a P in front of it fucks me up. I don't know if anybody else. I'm sorry, I'm weird like that, but
No, no.
I'm sorry. It's just
It's
it's weird.
silent like the G in lasagna. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
like that's off subject. I'm sorry. We do that from time to time.
Yeah, we
But
definitely go left and then come back.
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
But the whole process, you know what I mean? You get the car accident, you're given 99%, 1% chance of living. You know what I mean? And you battle back, the feeding tube. I know about the feeding tube because my grandma had one, and she used to have to get inshore all day long, and you just pour it in the
Hmm.
cylinder, and it goes through, but you gotta hold it up at a like that takes a lot. You know what I mean? That's a lot of stuff you're not used to doing as a normal person who has all their faculties. So it's rough, and then the walking and the neck exercise, like you're going through so much. Was there at any point in that you kind of felt like had a low moment, like, or was it kind of all just you was positive through the whole situation?
It's a combination of a lot of things. Like, for example, when I was on all those medicines, like, for example, if you were to shake, one of your crew members' hands like this, you would feel that tingling sensation naturally. But when I'm on that medicine, my body got desensitized. Hearing, seeing, touch, feel, emotionally. Because there was still pain from that car accident that was still ongoing.
Right.
Yeah, and I give the example, or let's say I shake somebody's hand with an oven mitt. you're not going to feel that sensation because the medicine is the barrier that blocks the nerves endings. And back to the example of the oven is the barrier.
Yeah.
That makes
And
sense.
that's what happened for quite a while because I was on that medicine, a list of medicine for longer than I was supposed to. And I was just glad to finally be off of that stuff. But eventually, when you get off of that stuff, come back to reality and start thinking about all this stuff more thoroughly than usual, then it's also the part of finally being able to eat and drink again by mouth. Starting off with the soft foods, something light.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then the stomach gets used to like producing that natural acid all over again. I had a lot of downtime with the recovery. Looking out the windows, looking at television shows, and people have to adjust around me as far as not eating around me because I feel like I'm teasing them. But I tell them, back then I'm like, well, there's not much I can do. It's not like I got dentures. Yeah, but yeah, but with all seriousness aside, it just became a situation where it's more adapting because I never been through that before. I've been through adversity of being in poverty, like having a strange relation with my father, single parent household, and being in a education system that wasn't always fair to people, and then life happening. But this was a whole nother situation. It's not like you can experience it for a moment and it just goes away. It's not like that. It's more of the marathon, and then it goes away. And it was just a journey where it's like, were there going to be better days ahead or not? And every day was always something different. It's not like something you can predict. Like I remember the days of people visiting me in the hospital, rehab, at my house. And then when I finally was able to eat again, people were taking me out to eat, and they took care of the bill.
Oh, yeah.
They better.
Thank you.
Appreciate you,
Yeah,
boss.
yeah.
Come
And then
on.
it became a situation where I was like, wow, I am appreciated. And then when I finally start gaining all that weight again, start walking again, and then there's more adversity that did happen. Like I'll tell you one part I mentioned in the book. Basically, I get a call from my stepmom. She tells me, "Oh, I want to meet you at this place, pick you up." She picks me up. She brings in my younger brother with her. And we go out to eat. Everything seemed cool and everything, and then she dropped the news on me. My dad's not gonna help me get my life back together. I thought things would change by this guy showing up to the rehab, the hospital, take me out to get a haircut. I'm like, I never seen this side of him. Was his heart touched or something? And then next thing you know, it's like somebody ended up going right back to his ways before. And I'm like, what's going on here? You called me all the way out here just for this?
Right.
Right.
And then, kind of remind me of the story of the Bible where the king first let the people go once his son got lost to that plague. But eventually, once the plague passed, and it came to the senses like, oh, I need those people back to build these statues and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
It became that 360 change. But what ended up happening in the whole situation was, there was other people that did help me in the recovery process. Would get my driver's license, getting a job and going to college. And then one day I did meet my dad again. There was two different occasions. The one occasion was, at a funeral. That's unfortunate. That's happened, more often. The other occasion was just an exciting occasion because he didn't see it coming. I ended up driving back to where I used to live at in Coatesville, Pennsylvania, with a brand new car, 2016 Honda Civic, right from the showroom.
Huh.
I felt like a new man. That's the same time I met the guy who I'm named after. Saw other people; they were very happy for me. And I remember, having my picture taken near this tennis court in Coatesville. I walk back to my car. My dad shows up at the light, and that's when he yelled. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I guess it's one of those situations where I'll paraphrase it and say somebody that see this happen, they can't take credit for it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know
Mhm.
exactly what you mean.
Mhm.
He saw you in a brand new car and was like, God damn.
Right.
Fucked up.
I
Fucked
done
up.
fucked up.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
some people would tell me want to just drive to his house and show off the new car, and I was like, "There's no
I
need."
ain't even gonna lie. I probably
I ain't gonna lie to you, brother. I'm petty as fuck. I would have
This
pulled
level.
that motherfucker with
With
fuck my daddy playing on the loudspeaker,
Yeah.
all the windows down and the
Max
sunroof
value.
open. Nigga, and I'm beeping the horn crazy too. Nigga, you ain't shit.
Drive by
Yeah,
slow too.
And
yeah,
I'm driving by real slow. I might jump out and let it drive itself for a minute.
Hey, no, you gotta go past and then come back.
yeah.
And then do
I'm
it
petty.
again.
Get that look.
I mean, that was an idea that was suggested to me by a couple of people, but I realized there's no need for me to show them because eventually, word's gonna spread right back to him. So it's a situation where probably heard about it, and then to see it, there you will now you see someone's fruits of labor,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's brand new, and
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 you
you
got
can't
to
say
make-
anything wrong about it.
Yeah, got to make you feel like shit, and I hope it does.
Well, I mean, it did in a more
Because everything you
uplifting
did,
way.
you did it
Because
for
I
you.
remember, when I finally got my driver's license. I was happy. I took the picture, posted on the internet. Close to 300 likes and 10 shares and over 100 comments, and I didn't expect that type of reaction from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Cause
Well, so moving forward from that situation, it's like, I use that story to tell people that it's sometimes in life that you're going to have to do things without people that's supposed to be there for you. 'Cause I remember this saying, not everyone that comes with you goes with you.
Ooh.
Yep, there it is.
Ooh wee.
There it is.
That's it right there. Oh God.
There it is.
That's it, Ethan. Say it again.
Niggas game. Get fired when he spits one time.
Yeah, the quote I learned was, not everybody that comes with you goes with you.
He
That's
just spoke a word right there. That's the end of the show. Good night, guys.
so that quote I've heard, many different ways. Life is a journey. Not everybody's gonna make it to the finish line with you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of them quotes that I love because I don't want to keep going back to the accident, but you were in this accident and you think your father would be, like, damn, Dad, I'm fucked up. I'm 1% away from life. You know what I mean? I might not be here. And you still didn't want to do nothing. But the fact that you overcame that part too, you know what I mean, to still be where you are, brand new car, I can't help but be awe-inspired, bro. Like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Because we deal with death every day. I mean, it's more prominent than not. But that's those survivors, the people who survive, who make it through and don't let it poison them. Because you see so many stories of people who go through these horrific accidents and they become bitter and they become angry and they're mad at the world and fuck everybody and they drink themselves to, nothingness. Or they like you said, the medicine. You're on a litany of medicine that just could take over you at any time if you don't have. Brother, you got a strong ass will. You have the
That's
strongest will
that.
I've ever met. I'm gonna have to say that you are the strongest willed person I've ever met. Because to be at night, to be told you have a 99% chance of dying, and to battle back, and to keep fighting, and to I know what it felt like to grow up in that single parent home, so I know that struggle of feeling like sometimes
Yes.
you weren't enough, and that doubt that creeps in, especially when you have other siblings. I was the oldest, so I had to take care of other people. So it's like I know that feeling, but you a strong guy. You are Teflon. Like brother, you like again, there's nothing like I'm trying not to it's I've never met somebody who kind of has me at this moment. I've been doing this for a while. Heard a lot of stories. Heard a lot of met a lot of people in life, but
It's the willpower
it's
for me.
yeah. Your story was something that I was like at first I was like motivational speaker, this and that. Then I went and checked and do my research, and I'm like, damn, like somebody being told you have 1% chance of living will break even the most average of ass man. I've seen football players get their knee broken, like, oh, you got 1% chance of playing football, and a nigga break down and just give up painkillers and doing all kind of reckless stuff. But the fact that you not only made it through that, persevered, and just became 10 times stronger to the people who kind of turned their back and was like, you ain't gonna make it. Like I said, to me, that's awe inspiring. That is something that everybody, if you can't get behind that, you have no fucking soul. I'm sorry.
Pretty much.
A piece of
There's no
shit.
other way to word that. There's really no other way to word that at all. To hell with those who feel that way, because when a story like yours, I can see where the motivational speaker will fall in line, because I want to ask you, you working with children in schools, when you tell this type of story to them, I get in my mind, I get this, that there's a tonal shift from how they were thinking, how they were acting. They might be stuck in a certain place in their life, especially if it's special needs. There's a there's a myriad of avenues for these kids to go down, and then you come with your story, and I can just imagine, like, there's got to be at least one kid in there who's probably going through straight hell for whatever reason, and then they hear your story and they're saying, if this man can fight back from the brink of death, I can do this. It's literally it's no excuses. It becomes no excuses at that point. What is that like when you talk to these kids that you were already working with prior to this, but now that this has happened, what is this like? What is that like, being in that crowd and talking to those kids and letting them know about your life story?
I mean, first I got it depends on the audience, and also what the event coordinator allows me to do, or when I'm working in the schools, what the administrators allow me. If they give me the green light, boom, I can just do what I want. Get my beginning, my middle, my end, time for Q&A. We take some pictures. I can sell some books, sign them, and make somebody's day. And then if the parents are there, they want to shake my hand, they want to take pictures with me. And it's like I never imagined all this happening when I was in the hospital, rehab, or being at home on that feeding tube. It's more like the work and being part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Steve Harvey said, you got to jump.
Yes.
Some of the jumps were,
you get some scrapes
get
and
my
bruises.
license, going to college, graduated from there twice, from a community college and a university. And the bigger jump was starting up my own business and being encouraged to write an autobiography, and being encouraged to make sure the website's done the correct way. It's a lot of jumps I had to take to grow, because I realized the key to success is stepping outside your comfort zone.
Yep.
You never lie.
And I realized, some of the things I'm doing is just, there was some help, but I had to do the work. Put out my own money, put out my own vision, and then bring other people to contribute to make things come to light. Like, for example, the book, I had a person that I knew for several years. She helped edit it along with another person. The difference is the one person, graduated from college. The other person is a teacher with a master's degree. And then the other person who helped design everything, I knew her through the program, we use Adobe Illustrator. As far as the professional picture in the book, that was taken care of by somebody. The one thing that stands out about my book is normally 1 or 2 forewords. I have 8.
Damn, that's a lot of love.
It's a lot of love. It's a lot.
That is a lot of love.
Yeah.
It was
and I think it's inspiring because I think if you have the life that you've led already, right? And to have those people see you work these projects with you, saying like it's almost like they like we gotta help him do this. It's not a pity party thing. It's just like, look, if he's pushing himself out here to take this jump to do this.
2 things. I've always heard people help those who help themselves. So that's why people are helping you, because they've seen you put in the work. And faith without works is dead. How old are you? That's the other question I've been wanting to ask.
Yeah, well, you're not gonna believe this. I'm actually 35. My birthday's next month.
Hey, you look.
You
I
a
thought he was
Taurus or a
I thought he
Gemini?
was younger than that.
Oh my God, bro! You look.
The hell with his age? You a
down, he
Taurus
was
or
like
a
in his
Gemini?
20s.
Gemini.
Oh, shit.
Ah,
Don't mind her. She
thought you was in the best part of May. Sorry.
excuse our zodiac zoologist.
Nah, okay.
But no,
we
because
the same age
you
group.
look. That's why I'm like, see, I thank you, because I was like, man, bro, got to be like 24. This you can't be.
Nah, I
you know,
definitely thought he was in his 20s for sure.
Yeah, so for real.
For sure.
I used to be in my 20s.
Yeah, but hold on. So here's the thing. Yeah, of course we all did. At one point in years.
Sometime in life, we definitely was.
Yeah, at some point in life we was all 20 something. You know, some women are still 20 something in their 50s, but that's neither here nor there. But no, the reason why I asked that, and the reason why I say this is because you've been through a lifetime of stuff. Like,
Right.
but you don't look like what you've been through, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? Like, you see some people who are 20 and they look like they 50. Like they've been through a lot.
That's a problem.
Yes. But you've been through a car accident, poverty. You've been through so much, and you look in your youth. Like, brother, you still got your youth.
Well, I mean, it's a combination of a lot of things. First, a mix, African, Puerto Rican, and there's some Indian. There is some Indian. There's also some European. Also, I learned that having a strong mitochondria and eating healthy and just not doing anything that ages the body. But it all starts with mental health decisions like, do you want to go on the right path or wrong path? And everyone has a choice to make. Because the resources are out there more than ever, whether it's counseling, therapy, group support, AAU, suicide hotline. There's also counseling available online, whether it's to a video chat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's really no excuses for people not to get the help. This is a matter of person has to want the help on the individual level. And, you know, for me personally, you know, the things I went through before the car accident, I look back on certain things, I realized maybe I should have been in counseling, but it's a situation where all that experience and stuff I endured, you know, it wasn't my decision. It's more, and not throwing anyone in the bus, it's more the environment I was living in a single parent household.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about that journey in the book. And I just want to give the audience a sneak peek of the chapters or the contents. Basically, it goes from the 8 forewords to the author's preface, intro, chapter 1,